We're so practical. Over that sidewalk over there. They'll announce it as soon as they start.
Alright, if I take pictures, just recording and putting it on YouTube.
She's got two sides to this one, you gotta get the other side.
Alright. I'm a YouTube blogger and this is ridiculous, so it's being thrown on my YouTube channel. I really don't like it. I'm... Yeah. Exactly.
I like the turtle. It's good to see you.
Hi.
Check 1, 2. Hey everybody, how you doing? Hey! My name is Trevor Hutchinson. I'm from the Lindsay Advocate, and I'm just here to do a couple housekeeping things. First off, which is the convention when there are events here in the park. I'd ask any smokers to go over on the city sidewalk to smoke, so please don't smoke in the park while this event's going on. Thank you very much. So what do you think about Ford canceling the Basic Income Pilot Project? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What do you think about Louis Scott, the federal minister, canceling the Basic Income Pilot Project? When I say basic, you say income. Basic! 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 Thank you very much for coming here today. It's a beautiful day. The weather's holding off, touch wood. I'd like to invite Jolie Scheidler-Benz up from the Lindsay Advocate to say a few words.
Thank you, Trevor. That was great. Basic! 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 That's great. What a great turnout today. I can't believe we have people here from all over our province supporting this. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so thank you to everyone who has shown up today in support of the Basic Income Pilot Project. My name is Jolie Scheidler-Benz of the Lindsay Advocate, and I can tell you we are 100% in favor of the Basic Income Pilot Project finishing. It's the least they can do. The news of the cancellation of this pilot program was heartbreaking and devastating, and our response must be bold. Some may assume that it was the Wynne government who brought in this program. That is not correct. We, the people, brought this program here, and we won't go down without a fight. Thousands of citizen volunteers, NGOs, government officials, and community service workers at various levels worked to make this happen. And all of the parties agreed to keep this pilot project going, and it must. So the PCs cannot know whether this was working or not. In fact, the early evidence, it's not working, and it hasn't. It hasn't worked. Oh, I'm sorry.
It has been working.
No, the Basic Income Pilot has been working. What the government's been doing till now has not.
You got it. Yeah.
So to abruptly halt this opportunity is a disgrace. It ignores the needs of our most marginalized people in our own community. And in our current environment of precarious work and automation, it is critical to finish this study properly. Finish it. It is also negligent and thoughtless to not do so when we consider our future generations, our own children, our grandchildren, and to at least try to measure something new. The PCs say the system is broken. Well, it is. It is.
Yes, it is.
This is no surprise. to the people who have fought for years to bring positive change to the people. Concerned citizens, empowered by their own vision of a better Canada, worked very hard to push this idea forward. So we are here today to invite Premier Ford to change his mind. He changed his mind when the people pressured him about the Greenbelt project. And he can change his mind now. Yeah, buck for a beer or caring for society. What do you choose, Premier Ford? Yeah, we are people too. And we are here today to invite Lori Scott to dig deeper. She needs to reconsider her stand and to fight for the people here. And for the betterment of her riding right here. Their minds can be changed. At the end of the day, they are people too. The people are raising their voices and want this to be tested properly. It cannot go down without a fight. Use your voice. Make it happen. And don't stop until it does. The fight is not over. The pilot must go on.
I'm Roderick Benz, publisher of the Lindsay Advocate. From our beginning barely 1 year ago, the Advocate has been and always will be social purpose media. Our priority will always be the social wellness of Kawartha Lakes. As somebody who was raised in this town with a hard-working mom and a hard-drinking alcoholic father, I know what working poor poverty is like. I can relate to the stories pouring into the Advocate day after day about opportunities lost amongst families across our town. Basic income was an opportunity found, wasn't it? It was an opportunity to try something different, to look at a new way of fighting poverty. And that means we fight against stupid decisions, no matter what party makes them. And it means we call out the hypocrisy of politicians saying, on the one hand, basic income isn't working. That's a lie. And on the other hand, oh, and if it does, we can't afford it. That's a lie too. It means we point out the simplistic pandering by the Premier who wants buck a beer as a priority announced today in this province. We can have buck a beer, but we can't have viable social policy, something that gives people a hand up, something that gives people some hope. The PC government said they would leave the pilot alone, so evaluators can collect the data that is needed, so all of us can see the truth about how this program is working. What are they afraid of? Are they afraid that it will work? Are they afraid it just might succeed, creating a springboard for people to launch into new opportunities? Or just to live their lives with dignity? Premier Ford said over and over again that he was there for the people. Well, right now I'm thinking about the people too. I'm thinking about Luke, who might be in this crowd today. Luke's a full-time trash collector for the city. He gets topped up with basic income because we've allowed our politicians to construct a society where working full-time isn't good enough anymore. We've allowed corporations to focus on the bottom line instead of people. I'm thinking about Tracy, who's been on disability since the early 90s because of health issues. Now she's doing a little bit better with basic income. She may not be able to work, but she gives her time to charities, to community care, to Seroptimus and other places. And right now I'm thinking about Ron, who was collecting ODSP and who struggled every day to live comfortably. The basic income program made it a tiny bit better for him. But you know what's even more tragic? He voted PC. He voted for Doug Ford, he says, because I believed he saw us. I believed he would do well for the poor. Premier Ford said over and over again that he was there for the people. Do you not see them, Mr. Ford? Do you not see the people whose lives you've turned upside down? If you are here for them, reverse this decision. It's the most honorable thing you can do. Reverse this decision and bring some dignity to people's lives.
That was wonderful. Hello, my name is Alexis Benz, and I'm the daughter of the co-founders of the Lindsay Advocate. I'm here today representing the next generation who is also affected by government decisions made every single day. In the near future, I want to see hope for you, for me, and for all of us here. And a future where basic income is a human right. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mike Perry, and I'm proud to say I did my part to help bring the Basic Income Pilot Project here to Lindsay and for the betterment of our cooperative communities here in Kawartha Lakes. Thank you very much. And the support that we see here today in Victoria Park in Lindsay is really overwhelming, because while basic income is about individuals getting a hand up, breaking the cycle, improving their lot, it's also about our local communities, spending power, supporting our businesses here locally. The pilot project has made this about Lindsay and Kawartha Lakes. So today we stand up if we're able. We stand up and we stand together as local residents here in Lindsay and Kawartha Lakes. And we stand in solidarity, something that I found very moving as well. You have to know that there are people who drove up this morning from Waterloo, from Kingston, from Belleville, from Hamilton. To stand with us shoulder to shoulder to preserve the basic income. To be able to stand with recipients and their allies, because this is about the recipients, it's about local economics. But at the end of the day, it's about every single one of us and our children and our children's children, because we need a social safety net for all of us if we fall on hard times.
I haven't used the food bank since that program came out.
There we are.
Yeah.
And you're not alone. We have someone here who mentioned she hasn't had to use the food bank since the basic income came along. We see more hands going up. Tell me, by all initial indications, tell me that this program is not working. We have seen the positive results. We've had the stories. We've heard and know people who have been lifted up. I was talking to someone on the weekly shopping bus test run on last week, and they were talking about how they had a 3-year plan now with basic income to move her and her daughter forward, to continue to use her volunteering to be able to build the skills and make the connections to go back to school and become a registered nurse here in our community. So much for beer and popcorn. People who are able-bodied and who are out there being able to use their skills and their efforts to participate, to contribute, and to follow their dreams because, you know, in the words of Mark Zuckerberg, the inventor of Facebook, he said, I would never even started Facebook had I not had the financial ability and comfort level to take some risks. The free market should love the basic income because it empowers entrepreneurship, it empowers business people, and it lets us all be able to spark, especially as young people, those ideas to make a living and to move forward and contribute our ideas to society as well. And let's not have a double standard. Nothing's perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect social program. But we can certainly do better than what everybody agrees is a system that's not working for anyone across the board right now. Ontario Disability Support Program pays, if you're lucky and single, maybe about $1,000 a month. That's not even living, that's barely existing. And if there's a message for Premier Ford and Minister MacLeod today, is make no mistake, we will not be going back to living in poverty through no fault of our own should we fall prey to a disability that means we cannot work. Those days in Ontario have to be over. But you know, don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. I have a message here, a tweet from John Haggerty, the newly retired police chief of Kawartha Lakes Police. When he heard, he tweeted, "Horrible news. I had hoped this would go province-wide after the pilot. I know it was making a difference in people's lives and expected the evidence would show that it was actually more affordable and more effective than the status quo. Thank you, former Chief John Haggerty of Kawartha Lakes Police Service." But don't just take John Haggerty's word for it. Look at the Globe and Mail from just last week. The Conservative case for a guaranteed income. Basic income has been a cross-partisan program. It began even, centuries ago, but most recently was being advocated by the Mulroney government and also by Hugh Segal, former Conservative senator. It was in the election platforms of the Liberal Party, obviously, the New Democrats and the Green Party. This is a cross-partisan issue. And when we make decisions to cancel things, they say, in famous quotation, opinion is the worst form of knowledge. And all we've heard from the minister so far is an opinion about how it doesn't work, how people might not want to work. That's not what I'm seeing here today. Opinion on it might cost too much. Let's see the data. Let's see the information. Let's see the scientific research. Keep the pilot program going. And who looks out? Who stands with us today, in our opinion, to test this new social program? Surely we live in a society these days where we can, when something isn't working, we can at least try something new. Tommy Douglas, who gave us Medicare, had a big fight on his hands, and he said we'd always have to fight to keep it. And here we are today, having had good news, and right back into a fight to try and keep it after a commitment was made that it would stay the course. But the business case goes on and on. Not only Mark Zuckerberg, but the founder of Flickr, the founder of Getty Images, even Richard Branson, the billionaire CEO of Virgin, supports the idea of a basic income. They must be onto something. And if they're onto something and stand with us today, we're onto something. And the government of Ontario needs to listen to all of us and keep this pilot program alive and well, not pull the rug out from people's everyday lives here in Kawartha Lakes. So to wrap up then, I would just like to say again, look at us. Look at the power of the people that we have. The power in numbers, the power in diversity. How many people here are older adults who've retired? Let me hear you. There we go. How many people here aren't from Lindsay? Let me hear you. Standing in solidarity. See Halliburton here, front row. How many people are working at least one job at the moment? How many healthcare professionals do we have? and the Mayor of Kawartha Lakes. Where are you folks? There they are right over here. Fantastic. Today we stand together for the residents of Lindsay and the communities of Kawartha Lakes. So in closing, I wanted to address one thing. We hear a lot about the cost. The cost. It's costing us now. Research has shown that the average tax-paying household is paying $3,000 a year for homelessness alone in this province, or across Canada rather. That's a hidden tax we don't see, right? All of the costs, when they did this program in Manitoba, emergency room visits went down 8%, they found. Imagine that. If you extrapolate that, it's a rough measure, but if you take that to the entire budget of the, just 8% of healthcare in Ontario, it's almost $4.5 billion, a savings of the cost of the entire ODSP program right now. We've talked for years about long-term solutions. Now is the time to put our money where our mouth is and invest now for future savings. We talk about it, and then what happens? It gets canceled. The cost debate is really on its head. You know, when there seem to be costs and things get expensive, where does this government look? To the folks who are struggling, who are vulnerable, who are trying their best to make their business work, get a job, and make ends meet. That is a problem, and that is part of the problem that brings us here today. Apparently, Premier Ford likes to cancel things. Have we heard a mumbling word about canceling the higher income tax funds from the provincial campaign? Have we heard a word about canceling tax loopholes? Have we heard a word about the corporate subsidies, our money that's handed out to big business every year? Well, there's a discussion that we have to have. And then CBC, on my way over here, I noticed, for one reason, and we've heard about it already, the Premier is not canceling Buck a Beer. Is not canceling Buck a Beer. So, you know, I can't help but leave with the conclusion, and I never thought I'd say this, but I think we have to stand up and show Premier Ford